distinguished presence of esteemed dignitaries on the dais. So please join me in welcoming our Chief Honorable Justice Amreshwar Pratap Sahi, President, National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, NCDRC. We are honored by the Law Center too. Professor Ahuja's scholarly contributions are remarkable. He has authored 5 books on intellectual property rights, international law, and mediation, including 2 volumes of Halsbury Annotated Statutes of India on IR. He has published 50 articles in international and UGC care listed journals and 17 chapters in edited books. He has successfully supervised 9 PhD scholars and 35 LLM students. His accolades include the first prize in the 5th South Asian teaching session on the international humanitarian law and refugee law in 2003. He served as regional coordinator of CLAD for the Northeast region from the 2021 to 2023 and was appointed the member of the UGC committee to frame guidelines for law courses in 2022. He also served as the NAC assessor and has delivered lectures at various judicial academics, VIP courses, and Bar Council of India programs. We welcome you, sir, and we are honored by your presence today. Thank you for gracing us with your esteemed presence. Please give a huge round of applause in welcoming sir on the dais. Once again, please put your hands together for Senior Professor Dr. V.K. Ahuja. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. Now, let me welcome our first guest of honor, Professor Dr. Geeta Pathak Sangrola. Professor Dr. Geeta Pathak Sangrola, Executive Director of Kathmandu School of Law, Nepal, is an eminent legal scholar and practitioner with over 3 decades of expertise in human rights, criminal justice, and legal education. She has been teaching at Kathmandu School of Law since 2001 and serves as visiting faculty at the University of Sydney and the Institute of Human Rights and Peace Studies, Mahidol University, Thailand, under the Masters of Human Rights and Democratization program since 2010. She has also served as visiting professor at universities across Asia, including Haim University in Japan, Punjab University, Rajasthan University, and IP University in India. With over 30 years of legal practice as a defense and legal aid lawyer, Professor Sangrola has been elected as executive member of both the Supreme Court Bar Association and Nepal Bar Association. She has served as chief legal advisor at the Social Welfare Council, governing council members of the National Judicial Academy, and member of the Legal Education Committee of the Nepal Bar Council, where she developed advocates examination curriculum and training programs. Currently, she chairs the Human Right-Based Access to Justice Consortium in Asia and serves as an expert resource person for the Nepal Police Academy, Nepal Army, Armed Police Force, and Office of the Attorney General. She has been a regular residential professor at the South Asian Teaching Session for Humanitarian Law organized by ICRC and KSL since 2010. Professor Sangrola was the founding president and director of the Center for Legal Research and Resource Development, where she pioneered legal aid, anti-human trafficking initiatives, and criminal justice reforms in Nepal. We welcome you, ma'am, and we are equally delighted by your esteemed presence today. Please give a huge round of applause in welcoming ma'am on the dais. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, let me welcome our guest of honor, Advocate Narhari Singh, sir. Please give a huge round of applause for sir. Advocate Narhari Singh is a distinguished legal professional practicing as an advocate on record and senior central government counsel. Advocate Narhari Singh, a first-generation lawyer having made his own independent mark and an advocate on record Supreme Court of India, who has a distinction of having his litigation in Supreme Court of India, Delhi High Court, TDSAT, NCDRC, BIFR, AAIFR, NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal, NCLAT, and various other tribunals and commissions. His area of interest includes matters relating to civil, criminal, consumer, and corporate litigation. Advocate Narhari Singh has also served as Additional Advocate General for the state of Jammu and Kashmir for all the courts, including Supreme Court of India and Delhi High Court, and is presently holding the same position. Beside this, Advocate Singh is emerging as a prolific litigator and a versatile lawyer having commendable experience of more than 16 years in BIFR, AIFR, CLB, now known as NCLT and NCLAT, and other various courts, commission, tribunals in Delhi and across India. He has got vast experience in drafting various special leave petitions, writ petitions, appeal plans, written statements, and counter affidavits. He has been appearing independently and arguing various cases before various courts and tribunals commissions across India. He has a considerable experience in briefing and assisting senior counsel for matters before the Supreme Court of India and the Delhi High Court. Advocate Singh also supervises litigation team of the firm handling different litigations in India courts on behalf of firm clients. We welcome you, sir, and thank you for gracing us with your privileged presence today. Please give a huge round of applause in welcoming sir on the dais. Once again, please give a huge round of applause in welcoming sir. Thank you, sir, for gracing us with your esteemed presence today. Thank you, sir. Now, please join me in welcoming Professor Dr. Salim Akhtar, Director, Academic Advisory, Asian Law College. We welcome you, sir. Please give a huge round of applause in welcoming, sir. Please give a loud round of applause for Salim, sir. Thank you, sir. We would also like to welcome Mr. Ashish Paradwaj, Associate Dean, Asian Law College. We welcome you, sir. Please give a huge round of applause in welcoming, sir. Once again, please put your hands together for sir. And we are equally delighted to welcome Ms. Pooja Silwal, Assistant Professor and Secretary, International Relations Department, Kathmandu School of Law. We welcome you, ma'am. Please give a huge round of applause for ma'am. Once again, please put your hands together. Thank you so much, ma'am and sir. Now we'll be beginning with the addresses. So I may now request Professor Dr. Salim Akhtar, Director, Academic Advisory, Asian Law College, to kindly address this August gathering. Please give a huge round of applause in welcoming sir to the podium.
Good morning, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, now, firstly, I welcome to all the guests, particularly the Honorable Justice A.P. Sai Saab, former Chief Justice of Patna and Madras High Court, and now presently he is a chairman of the Consumer Forum, chief guest of this program. My friend, not a friend, Professor V.K. Ahuja, Honorable Director of the Indian Law Institute, New Delhi, Professor Geeta Pathak, Sangrula, Kathmandu Law School, Nepal, Dr. Advocate Narhari Singh, Senior Advocate and noted legal luminary of the Supreme Court. Now, Associate Dean Ashish Bharadwaj, esteemed member of the management, distinguished academicians, invited speakers, faculty, colleagues. We have a very young faculty and dynamic faculty. This school have a dynamic faculty, but most of our teachers are LLM and PhD from different universities and national universities and the central universities. So we have a mix of different university mix. And faculty is very good. Now today's topic is globally changing facets of the law. The topic itself a very important present environment. Very, very important in present environment. Now, yesterday I've seen one film, trailer of that film. Haq, the Barrett University has produced that film on Shahbano case. But unfortunately, the producer and the director of that film has not read the full judgment of Shabano case. Shabano case is a landmark in Indian legal history, particularly on different facets. My thesis is on Shabano. And the Harvard Law University awarded one project on Shabano case. If you read my thesis on Shabano, the most of our political leader has not read the case. Some criticize and some favor the case. But in 1989, in Vigyan Bhavan, my teacher and my mentor, Professor Madhav Menon, has organized a seminar on Uniform Civil Code. And former Chief Justice Y.B. Chandrachud has presided over that function. I asked one question. I was also in the seminar. I raised one question and asked to the former Chief Justice Y.B. Chandrachud, Sir, Supreme Court has already decided in 4 cases, Bhai Tahira case, Fazlun Bibi case, and other 2 cases. If you read the last paragraph of the Fazlun Bibi case, that last paragraph is not a part of that judgment. And the end of the judgment, Justice Iyer, Krishna Iyer, has cautioned the courts, particularly lower court and the Supreme Court and high courts, that the British judges unfortunately, they have no knowledge about the Islamic law. So most of the cases, they were decided on justice, equity and good conscience and not according to the Sharia. This was the observation of Justice Iyer. And in 1981, Justice Baharul Islam, for the first time, in Ziauddin versus Anwari Begum case, has laid down a correct law on triple divorce. He held that the triple divorce is not a valid under Muslim law, according to the Holy Quran. And then, thereafter, Justice Badr Durrezi, the Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court in Mansoor Sen Khan case, he held that triple divorce is not a part of Quran. In 2017, our Supreme Court, the Constitutional Bench, has set aside the triple divorce, and Justice Korean rightly observed that the triple divorce is not a part of law books. Now the triple divorce is not a law books. Now you see the facet of the law. In 1923, the Privy Council in Sarabhai case held that the divorce good in law, though bad in theology. Chief Justice K.R. Singh rightly pointed out that how we think good in law, though other the bad in theology. If the bad in religion, it can't be a good in law. But unfortunately, the Supreme Court has not overruled that judgment. In my opinion, the Supreme Court should have overruled that judgment. So in matrimonial cases, our Supreme Court has not formed the uniform law. These days, the Supreme Court has invoking the Article 142 on matrimonial cases. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court has not justified in some cases invoking Article 142 in matrimonial cases. Particularly in one case, Ashok Hurra case, in which for the first time the Supreme Court has invoked the Article 142 in matrimonial cases. Thereafter, there is a bar of the using this Article 142. But this is not correct thing. Now this seminar, we have a number of papers. So first I welcome to all the delegates from India and outside the India. But during the debate or during the technical sessions, they have mentioned there or they have read out their papers, and our reporters correctly write down the observations of their papers. क्योंकि last in validity address we will present a resolution on that. Now, being a member of the 5 years committee, from at the time of the debate on this, how the law linkages with the other social subject. So Professor Bakshi, he was the architect of this 5 years course. Professor Bakshi and Professor Madhamanan sir, they were both were the architect of this 5 years course. So during the meeting, the Professor T.K. Oman, he was a well-known professor in sociology. He raised some objection, particularly regarding the social welfare theories. Then answer was given by Andre Bataille. He was the professor of sociology. In political science, Professor Rathod, Delhi University, and Professor Haqqi from the Aligarh Muslim University both presented a beautiful paper on political science linkages with law. So these 4 and 5 subjects were linkages with law. Now, after a gap of 84 to 2025, we think that at that time, the Professor Bakshi and Professor Manon was right to introduce or to linkages these paper with law. Because this conference, so we choose this topic in the context of the social changes. But unfortunately, the victims are the women of this 2 days. Because our laws has not protect the dignity and soul of the woman. Even the Supreme Court has not protect. So I think that during the debate or during the technical session, some of the papers may light the things on this, the rights of the women. So now the time is changing. Every change is betterment. So this period is Artificial intelligence is the fashionable word. But first we think the negativity of this artificial intelligence. We are not talking about this. We are talking about the artificial intelligence, climate change, and social justice. And global governance demand legal scholarship that is both interdisciplinary and method and global in outlook. The Asian Law College, we have always believed that the true education extends beyond the classroom. It lies in cultivating the intellectual curiosity, critical reflection, and collaborative learning. The research and development cell of ALC has been instrumental in nurturing this ethos by providing a platform for scholars, researchers, innovators, and the discourses that, and particularly these, we are beyond the boundaries of the legal process, particularly in the social change. So, it is my duty to congratulate those who come from outside or from within India. So I welcome to all the delegates again. I extend my best wishes for the fruitful deliberations ahead and for the grand success of this international conference. Thank you.
Please once again give a huge round of applause for Dr. Salim Akhtar, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your enlightening words and for guiding us through a landmark judgment that has shaped the discourse of law and for setting the foundation for the discussion on this conference. Now, I have a very good academic news to share with you all. As already mentioned by Professor Dr. Salim Akhtar, sir, the Research and Development Cell at Asian Law College has worked tirelessly towards the Journal of Asian Law College, bearing ISSN number 31073859. This multidisciplinary peer-reviewed research journal publishes biannual scholarly articles and commentaries on various aspects of law by jurists, practitioners, professors, and students globally. Continuing with this legacy, I may now request our esteemed dignitaries on the dais to kindly release issue 2 of the journal. Please give a huge round of applause. We have a very good news, academic news to share with you all, the release of issue 2 of the Journal of Asian Law College. Please give a huge round of applause. I may request the dignitaries to kindly release the issue 2 of the journal. Can we once again have a loud round of applause? This is the issue 2 of the Journal of Asian Law College. Please once again put your hands together for the release of the journal. Thank you so much, sir and ma'am. Now, I may request Advocate Narhari Singh, sir, to kindly address this august gathering. Please give a huge round of applause in welcoming sir on the podium.
Honorable Justice Amreshwar Pratap Sahi Sahab, Dr. V.K. Ahuja Sahab, Director ILI, Dr. Salim Akhtar Sahab, Dr. Geeta Pathak, Executive Member, Kathmandu Law College, Dr. Ashish Padwasi, and other respected dignitaries, and dear students and friends. Very good morning to all of you. At the very outset, I would like to give my deepest thanks to Honorable Justice A.P. Jai sir, President of the National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, for finding the time to grace this prestigious international law conference at Asian Law College. Sir, your gracious presence will elevate this conference. Justice Shahi's journey exemplifies constitutional commitment in action. After an early career at the Allahabad High Court, he was elevated to the bench in 2004 and went on to serve as Chief Justice of Patna High Court in 2018, then Chief Justice of Madras High Court in 2019, and presently is leading National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission as its president. Lordship has authored so many remarkable and notable judgments that balanced governance with fundamental freedoms. A right to choice of food, which he has brought within the realm of the Article 21, is a landmark judgment, thereby safeguarding the rights guaranteed by the Constitution of India. Justice Shahi, as president of NCDRC, has brought the same principled insistence on fairness and accountability to consumer jurisprudence. Under his leadership, the Commission has ordered robust beliefs in real estate delay cases, including directions to refund the entire booking amount with high interest where deficiency was established, reinforcing that consumer promises must translate into performance. In insurance cases, an NCDRC bench led by Justice Shahi recently enhanced compensation after finding a faulty claim assessment, signaling that technical deductions cannot trump actual provable loss or timely payment. And in banking and pensions, the Commission, speaking through Justice Shahi, rebuked unjustified delays in releasing a widow's gratuity, affirming that institution must serve not stonewall but rightful beneficiaries. The message is simple and powerful: compliance, compassion, and clarity are consumer protection essentials. My lord, thank you for delivering such good judgments. Now, I have had the privilege of observing the evolution of our legal system for more than 2 decades. Over these years, one lesson has become interestingly clear to me. Justice is not a concept that lives only in our casebooks or courtrooms, but it is a lived experience. When a family loses its saving to a fraudulent investment scheme, when a defective appliance causes injury, or when a consumer's personal data is sold without consent, that is where justice or the lack of it becomes real. Consumer justice is in many ways the most personal form of justice that ordinary citizens experience. And while our constitution mandates that the state ensures equal justice, which is being given in the Article 39A also, that is where justice or the lack of it becomes real. That is in the fundamental duties. Cons- Laws are the consumer justice in many ways the most personal form of justice. Laws are the framework, but it is the legal mind trained to interpret, apply, and contextualize those laws for the people they serve that gives this framework its soul. Now, the challenge before us is the modern consumer faces challenges that our traditional legal education never anticipated. From data harvesting and algorithm discrimination to cross borders e commerce disputes, today's marketplace is filled with complexities that defy simple legal interpretation. Consider, for instance, a case of deceptive online advertising. A lawyer might understand the contextual breach, but to truly grasp the manipulation, one must understand how algorithms exploit human psychology, how information asymmetry shapes decision making, and how data scientists design system and predict behavior. The lawyer sees unfair trade practice, the economist sees market failure, the psychologist sees cognitive bias, the technologist sees algorithm design. Each of these perspectives is vital, yet none is sufficient alone. Consumer justice today is an interdisciplinary challenge. The path forward. So, what role must law schools play? Law schools can no longer be ivory towards teaching statutes in isolation. They must become laboratories of interdisciplinary collaboration. Places where future lawyers learn not just to interpret the law, but to understand the system that shape human and corporate behavior. Here's what the transformation might look like. Integrating economics with law, teach fundamental economic principles like supply and demand, monopolistic behavior, and market failure alongside consumer law. When students see how unfair trade practices reflect deeper market inefficiencies, they begin to understand why such laws exist, not just what they say. Building cross disciplinary bridges, collaborate sincerely with the departments of data science, psychology, and engineering. A lawyer advising on algorithm transparency must know enough about machine learning to ask the right questions, not to code the system but to understand its consequences. Then, transforming legal aid clinics into innovation hubs. Imagine a team of law, economics, and engineering students investigating pattern of digital fraud or misleading product labeling, then recommending systematic reforms to regulator. That is justice scaled up, moving beyond private litigation to public remedies. Then last, strengthening legal literacy. Finally, law schools must extend their reach into communities. Legal literacy is not about quoting constitutional provisions, it's about helping people feel that the law is on their side, that justice is not an abstraction but an attainable right. A call to action. We stand at a defining moment law schools already have, but it takes resources, intellect, and moral authority. What we need now is vision. If we truly commit to interdisciplinary education, law schools can become the engines of the consumer justice reform in our time, not merely teaching the law but shaping the society it serves. Because justice, after all, is not found in textbooks. It is brought to life by those courageous enough to bridge the gap between law and the humanity. In the classroom, we teach statutes, we analyze judgments, and we debate policy. But justice cannot be understood solely from the pages of a textbook. It must be felt, observed in motion, contested in arguments, and ultimately delivered through due process. That is why now the law colleges are more focusing on the experimental learning, experiential learning, the practical learning, I would say, that learning through observation and the experience. And moot courts are essential in that. That is why law colleges are having moot courts every year, every session, because they want to have academic knowledge as well as the experience based knowledge also. For a law student, observing or assisting in these proceedings offer lessons that no lecture can replicate. How pleadings are drafted in plain language that citizen can understand, how mediation and conciliation offer resolved disputes faster than litigation, how empathy, not just legal skill, influence the pursuit of the justice. Experiential learning is more than learning by doing. It is learning by engaging with people, with systems, and with the law in its operational form. Then bridging the gap between the law schools and the commission, I would say to make experiential learning truly effective, law schools and the courts and the commission must collaborate systematically. They should do structured internship program. Law school should partner with the courts and the commission to create rotational internships where student can assist in documentation, case summaries, and research. This is not only lightens the commission's workload but also trains students to procedural realities. Law school should also do legal aid and awareness clinics, simulation and moot exercises, faculty collaboration and research. Faculty members can work with commission officials to identify trends in consumer grievances and publish data driven insights, bridging academic research with policy reform. We often say that the best lawyers are not those who know every section of the law, but those who know the law feels to those who depend on it. The Consumer Commissions is the perfect classroom for that feeling where empathy meets expertise and learning meets life. As a lawyer, I would say that every law student, wherever I go, I must, tell those students that there are three eyes which are very important to have as a character, as a feature in them. The three eyes are industry, invention, and integrity. Every law student or advocate has to be industrious enough to understand the nuances of the law which are applicable to the land. Every law student and the advocate has to invent the new legal points and arguments. They should have urge to always do that invention. And lastly, integrity, which is one of the most basic fundamentals of an advocate. It is integrity towards the profession, court, and the brief that drives advocate to give his best performance in any given situation. I welcome all of you in the today's conference, and I'm so thankful that Asian Law College has invited us as a guest of honor for participating in this prestigious conference. I would again like to thank Justice Sahi for gracing this international conference, and welcome all of you and best of luck. Thank you.
Please once again give a huge round of applause for Advocate Narhari Singh, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for such a warm address and for highlighting some of the important facets of law and its linkages with other disciplines. This is what makes this conference multidisciplinary in its perspective. Now, I may request Senior Professor Dr. V.K. Ahuja, Director, Indian Law Institute, New Delhi, to kindly address the gathering with his words of wisdom. Please give a huge round of applause in welcoming Dr. V.K. Ahuja, sir, to the podium. So, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Honorable Mr. Justice A.P. Sahi, President, National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission. Professor Geeta Pathak Sangrola, Executive Director, Kathmandu School of Law. My elder brother, Professor Salim Akhtar. Advocate Narhari Singh ji. Ashish Bhardwaj ji. Pooja Madam, and all the respected teachers, dear students, and very dear participants, a very good morning. The theme of this conference is very well thought of. It talks of globally changing facets of law, dialogue between multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary approach. The theme deals with contemporary developments in law on the one hand, but at the same time, it also takes forward the agenda of National Education Policy 2020 on the other hand. What NEP talks about is that all these disciplines, should be multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary. The discipline should not work in silos. And that is why the NEP is strongly against the standalone universities. Of course, we have law universities, agriculture universities, sports university, which are working in silos. So the purpose of NEP is that you need to work, as by adopting interdisciplinary approach. So the conference brings together law, science, technology, management, social sciences, and humanities. I was just looking at the themes and sub-themes, these were quite interesting. Of course, I'm not competent to speak on everything, but I'll just touch upon a few of the sub-themes which have been listed in your brochure. Friends, technology is fast changing. Narhari Singh ji had already talked to you about the AI. that is something which is extremely important. I'll just give you some updates on that. The technology can be used for the betterment of humanity, and it can be worked against the interest of the mankind. It all depends on the user. We have the technology, each one of us is using now the AI. It all depends on us. How do we use that? Are we going to create problems for others? Are we going to work illegally? Or are we going to, experiment some gray areas? Now, the fast changing developments in technologies are offering countless opportunities, but at the same time, they are posing significant challenges also. About artificial intelligence, since Sir had already spoken a lot on it, the two updates which I'm just going to give you is that it was, I think, 30th of October or something. I mean, the last week of October, that there were guidelines, draft guidelines, which were issued by Ministry of Electronics about deepfakes. That it will be essential to label your contents, that they involve the use of artificial intelligence. It has been put on hold for some reason, but these are the draft guidelines which are meant for intermediaries, right? That is one development which has taken up for regulating the uses of AI. Second development, I think it is maybe probably this month only, in the first week of November, that the government of India had come out uh, with the guidelines, and they had recommended, a committee was constituted where they have recommended that as of now, no law is required to regulate AI as such, and it will be adopted as and when the requirement would be there. But then some guidelines, self-regulating guidelines have been issued by the ministry. So these two developments had taken place in last 10 days, 10 to 15 days, hardly 10 to 15 days only. So you must read them, what is happening in the legal field. Friends, AI, blockchain, NFTs, metaverse, etc. These are, some of the technologies doing very well. They have completely changed our lives. But then, and moreover, these technologies are becoming part and parcel of our day-to-day life. As I told you, that it all depends on the user, how the users are taking these technology or using them. I'll just give you one example about the metaverse. In metaverse, you can have your avatar, right? So it's a virtual world. So the entire scenario, like uh, uh, all of us, five or six sitting on the dais and the audience sitting like this, that can be created through avatars in the virtual world. Now there was that's really good, very interesting, and of course you can have meetings as if even though you are sitting in various parts of the world, and then through virtual world, through metaverse, you can come together by your avatar, taking seats, sitting, walking, and behaving like the normal human beings. But what happened was that some of you might have read the news. One girl was molested on the metaverse. Now, that is completely an area which is a gray area. But imagine the girl who was molested on the metaverse platform, what would have happened to her, and psychological impact which might have come in her mind. Just think about it. As far as law is concerned, I mean, these were avatars, fine, and there was no touching, nothing. I mean, the physical touch was not there. So whatever has happened through avatars only. So that is another area, where of course we have to see how to regulate the uses of metaverse. Intellectual property rights, for example. Now, copyright contents are there, the designs are there, the art is there, the painting is there. If that is being shown in the metaverse, now that also amounts to communication to the public, and it would be violating somewhere the rights of the copyright holder. So these are some issues, which of course have to be resolved when we use the technologies. Now, since these technologies can be used either way, for betterment or against, their regulation becomes extremely important, as I have told you. But unfortunately, the entire world is struggling to regulate the uses of technologies in an effective manner. There is only one act, that is called as European Union Artificial Intelligence Act, which has been adopted so far, which of course is a very comprehensive act, and it is the one which is regulating the various uses of artificial intelligence. You must read that, or must have an idea about what that law is, right? That is one development which had happened in the European Union. There is another side apart from regulation of these technologies. The another darker side of these technologies is that they are causing severe environmental issues because they are emitting lot of heat, and therefore we have to address that issue also, because this is otherwise going to become another environmental hazard, and the blockchain, the cryptocurrency, and many other things, where the computation is being done at a very rapid pace. Lot of heat is being generated, so they have to think of the model. They have to come out with the technology which is environmentally sustainable also. So that is another issue which of course we have to look into. Now, I'll briefly touch upon the issue of public health, which again is one of the themes of your conference. And we had already seen how the COVID-19 brought a tremendous impact on our lives. All of us are fortunate enough that we have survived the onslaught of COVID. We are here, Otherwise, there was absolutely, I mean, nobody was aware whether he was going to see the light of tomorrow or not, whether he'll survive by the evening or not, or if you are going to bed, whether you will get up or not. The things were so bad, particularly in Delhi during the second phase of the COVID. Now, this pandemic has changed our lives, brought untold sorrow for the many people, and it had left a very strong message for the world community. Today, we have to prepare for any eventuality. Now, again, I'll just give you an update on that. The WHO, World Health Organization, which of course is facing enormous problem because of the only one person in the world that I think I should not name. You can easily make it out, Mr. Donald Trump. He had cut the fundings of WHO. So WHO, of course, is facing a lot of issues, and some of the offices have been closed because of the lack of fundings. Some of the employees are working from home because they do not have office now, but still it is working. The good thing is that the WHO has adopted a pandemic treaty in this year only, 2025. Right, that is another development. Of course, being the law students, you should be aware of that. Now, some more work is required to be done with respect to certain aspects of the treaty. In fact, some annexures are to be adopted, and that will be ready by 2026. The preliminary draft has been adopted. By 2026, the entire treaty, the whole bulk, the major provisions along with annexures will be adopted in the next year only. This treaty is primarily on pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response. Right. Now, you never know when the next pandemic will come. If you just see the last pandemic, which had killed people, much more than what the COVID had done, that was Spanish flu in 1918. So it was exactly almost after 100 years that we had seen another pandemic of that magnitude. In between, there was many pandemic, but they did not cause that much of damage to the mankind. So after 100 years, we faced that COVID-19. Now, the question is there before the world community: are we prepared to handle any such situation if suppose another virus comes, from somewhere, maybe China, maybe some other country who's experimenting, and if it is leaked, and again the same kind of disease happens. So are we prepared for that or not? And this treaty is exactly on that. It is on prevention, preparedness, and response of the pandemic. And we hope that with such a treaty in place, the world community will be in a position to prevent a pandemic, or at the best, it will contain it before it creates a havoc. One of the sub-themes of the conference is human rights and social justice. And this theme covers gender justice, minority rights, refugee laws, migration laws, and other evolving human rights. It did not talk about the transgenders' rights. Now, when you talk of gender justice, you cannot leave out transgenders or LGBTQI++, or which exactly is the major term. Transgender is just one of them. When we say LGBT, T stands for transgender. So there are other LGBTQI++. Now, we have a law on transgenders that was adopted in 2019. Yeah, I was just talking about, like, when we talk of gender justice, we cannot leave out the transgenders or the LGBTQI community. Some people say that they are not part of the gender justice because it is their sexual orientation only. So there are only two sex, male and female, right? But then there is another argument, the other group of people which say that no, LGBTQI is to be taken as a third sex, and that is why you might have seen that now the government is coming out with three genders, where male, female, and transgender, that they are referring to. So therefore, any debate on gender justice would be incomplete without referring to the rights of LGBTQI++. Friends, during my childhood, I never saw transgenders, or what we used to see. There was only one word, what we used to call as hijra, right? So we were not aware of these many terms at that point of time. So I did not see them begging in my childhood. They'll go for badhai, there will be conflict, there will be fight, they will demand something, and the families will not be able to give that much. Of course, that used to happen, that struggle was there. But today, I see these people begging on the roads. And the worst part of it is that when I leave Indian Law Institute, how many of you have seen Indian Law Institute? Or very few. How many of you have seen Supreme Court? ILI is just opposite to Supreme Court Gate D, right? So what I normally call as that the Temple of Justice and Temple of Learning are facing each other. So when I leave my office at 5:30 every day, I find transgenders begging in front of Supreme Court. And I'm just thinking that they are begging in front of Temple of Justice, hoping that they will get justice one day. Things have gone really bad for them. We must think about them. They are begging on streets, in the buses, in the railway coaches, everywhere. That should not have happened. I mean, somehow we need to think about them. We need to rehabilitate them. We need to bring them in the mainstream. We need to provide them the jobs also. Now that is something which is extremely important. I hope someone of you must be talking about that. So friends, this conference also intends to discuss the linkages between law and psychology, law and sociology, law and political science, law and literature, etc. And that is the real mandate of the National Education Policy 2020 also. And I really congratulate those professors who had really thought of this particular theme. And this is very contemporary and very relevant at this particular point of time, where the government of India is like putting a lot of money, putting a lot of pressures on the universities, and asking them to come out with multidisciplinarity and interdisciplinarity. So, well, friends, I wish you all the very best, and may this conference result in the quality discussion, and all the participants are benefited from this academic Mahakumbh. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Please once again give a huge round of applause for Professor Dr. V.K. Ahuja, sir. And thank you so much, sir, for such an enlightening address and highlighting the very purpose of new education policy that focuses on multidisciplinary approach, and also how important it is now to regulate the usage of AI in today's world. And moving ahead, I may now request Dr. Geeta Pathak Sangrola, Executive Director, Kathmandu School of Law, to share her insights with all of us. Please give a huge round of applause in welcoming ma'am to the podium.
Thank you very much. The chief guest of the conference, Honorable Amarendra Pratap Sahi, the director of Asian Law College, Dr. Salim Akhtar, and all honorable guests, Dr. Ahuja, the director of ILI, whom I met in a couple of conferences. And I'm really honored to listen to you. Advocate, we are the colleague. I was in practice for a long time, and legal fraternities are, we always call for jealous protection of client, but the word jealous we have deleted now. Narahari Singh, the member of Supreme Court and a very rigorously practicing lawyer. Dr. Assis Bardwaj, the Associate Dean, and all young, the word young, I would like to prefer to say young dynamic faculties, staffs, but doesn't mean that not all are dynamics. We are old, but we have crossed the dynamism and then transformed to dynamic teachers. Staffs, I can see very young, energetic staffs playing different roles. And the most importantly, all the presenters who are going to present, it is hybrid. We have also some faculties going to present from Nepal in a hybrid mode. I wish if they could also come. I was also not supposed to come, but then I thought, since we are having partnerships, so why don't we see in a physical presence? Because online, we practice more in COVID time. And I think the physical presence makes a difference, and it will be meaningful and effective. So all the media and everyone present over here. So namaskar from Kathmandu School of Law. I have to give the message from KSL. A quick introduction, because as you all are familiar with the ALC, but just very quick, you can visit to our website for detail. Kathmandu School of Law under Purvanchal University. There is another Kathmandu University School of Law, which seems the similar name, but that is under Kathmandu University. But we belong to Purvanchal University, one of the state universities. We took a challenge. I'm one of the founders. We took a challenge starting a 5 years LLB. Before that, we had a Trivandrum University only 3 years LLB. We took a lot of challenge because our students were not able to sit in the bar exam, but eventually other law schools also started 5 years. So in that sense, we are pioneer in that sense. We have LLM, and Dr. Ahuja was mentioning about gender justice. So then we have human rights and gender justice LLM, specific course, criminal law justice and business and international trade law. We have some international program, as it was referred in the beginning, the Masters of Human Rights and Democratization. Since 2010, we have started. The reason why I'm saying this, maybe we are thinking of having one research partner universities the law schools or non-law schools in the region, South Asia. So we can tie up, and also I would like to see many faculties under the faculty development program and applying even after the graduation. You can also apply for this sponsored by European Union. This is very interesting, and rest you can visit to the website. And I don't want to, encroach the time by saying this. We have residential school, and we organize some of our flagship programs, international program, that is Economic, Social and Development Right, ESDR, which is going to be conducted in December of this year. Depending on the situation of the political chaos, as you might have heard in Nepal. But for now, so Pooja is the secretary to the international department she is looking after. So that is why she is also present here. I think some of the outcomes of this conference we can also disseminate in our 21 days international conference residential program. We have one residential school at the we call it Outreach Campus, and it is in the hill station, and we can station some 100 plus participants like there throughout residential for the sustainability program. And I would like to request honorable guests, honorable all dignitaries sitting here, to please allow us to welcome you in Nepal in the days to come. Thank you. Just very quickly to mark, when the proposal came to have one partnership with Kathmandu School of Law, KSL, the immense pleasure, having partnership with ALC, because we also have envisioned that law are not in accordance with law. It is basically the rule of law, the pillar, one of the strong pillars which we teach also, subscribing the language of Justice P. and Bhagavati Krishna Iyer and many more, which we have kept in our textbooks as well, that the deprofessionalized justice, not sitting in the classroom, not rendering the judgment in the four walls, and many more. So the young generations, you have a lot of challenges in the given context of using less mind and more artificial intelligence products. We have to take advantage of using the technologies, but somebody rightly said, I'm a big fan of this Om Shanti Shivani. She once said that we created mobile and our device to facilitate us, but we have been enslaved by these device, not really using our human conscience. So I think the innovativeness, more we memorize, more we be more innovative, no matter that we are not very sound in grammar, because it's a next language. Even within the native language, there are so many other languages, but there is one common language. But we have to use to facilitate, because language saves the world, whether we want to go to hospitality or hostility. What if the same thing being rendered by one person and another is replicating? I honor that we should not replicate. When we see the judgments, even this Article 21 of Indian Constitution is being interpreted in different facets, linking with. My PhD thesis was a comparative study between Nepal and India regarding the justiciability of access to reproductive health, where I had also chance to come across some of the cases, also mention the gender equality, Sahabano and so on. Although that was relativism, not really the reproductive health one, but coming from gender equality to the access, and then the thematic issue that I had chance to come across. The talking about I would like to just quickly, you know, assert some of the issues we are sometimes confused while teaching in the class, because students are so smart. They come up with so many examples. They are truly, honestly speaking, they are assets for teachers. And together we can do. And now the time has come to actually talk about how to establish law in a globally changing, multidisciplinary facets of law. That is why when after plus two from different disciplines, the students enter in law, and we try to amalgamate a lot of issues together, because law is a science, law is a social science. So the I would like to refer one instance when I was pleading in the parliament dissolution case the prime minister dissolved the parliament, the first one, KPOLI, and I was one of the amicus curiae. And that time I mentioned that if the countries like Nepal dissolves parliament frequently, how can we reach into the indicator of human development index and economic growth? Today I can see India ranking according to 2025, the status ranking the fourth position, even surpassing Japan, economic growth. But the thing is, we the academicians should always discuss frankly a dialogue. So today's conference is about dialogue. So what about HDI, human development index? By saying that we should not say no to economic growth, which is of course essential, but not at the cost of surpassing the human development index, where uh, India ranks 130th position out of 193 countries, whereas Nepal has gone down 145th 45 position. But we are nowhere in the economic growth ranking, because the devastating earthquake since 2015, and then a lot of issues, and recent Gen Z youth movement has actually pushed our development far away. So that is the recent, maybe we can work together for the causes of transboundary harm, not just limited to geographical one, the transboundary harm, because we share porous border. Nepal shares porous border with three connecting parts, from Bihar to throughout, and one part, of course, with China. China is never, we always want to maintain relationship, but in terms of accessibility of goods and education and many more, we are more connected culturally, historically with India. So, border we have created. So we are making laws in different form. But the problem is, if person A is the neighbor of person B's country, then what happens that they don't know the meaning and language of law. For instance, the services available for the neighbors, there is only thin line in terms of access and thick line in terms of sovereignty. So if say for instance Birgans people going to Roxol, one of the borders area, so they rely the hospitals and women going for reproductive health and services. But the problem is, if the laws are different and there is a punishment is different, then there is a problem like for those people, because they don't know the meaning of border. That is why somebody rightly said that emerging human rights is perhaps declining concept of the sovereignty. I'm not saying state of sovereignty is not there. Of course, territorial integrity, political independence is there. But so far, in a globally changing context and facets of law, we have to revisit at least the laws and practices and policies of these two countries where we do not even require the visa other than simple travel document. So we can have and establish more partnership for this transboundary harm. The recent example I urge the faculties and the students to go and see the impact of transboundary harm, the recent impact of the flood, Kosi Barrage, the eastern side of Nepal. What happened that when the water level crossed and Nepal government instructed to open the dam, and our neighbor people, they suffer. We suffer actually, both the sides. So the question is, rich water, poor people, rich people, and poor people and poor people. The dichotomy, how far have we been able to realize the fact? We're talking about dignity, we're talking about equality, and so on. But the question is, poor people die elsewhere. Either there is a rain or no rain, cold or hot. So in all seasons, so we're talking about the public health and so many other issues. So the thing is, maybe we can work together. We have also the publication of Kathmandu School of Law Review. We can work with ILI. You can work with ILI, which has a rich assets, and we've kept these tools as our textbooks and so on. So without further ado and without taking much of your time, we can make action plan. The students, we can enjoy, and sometimes you can enjoy the cold. It's chilling cold, but Delhi is also, uh, it has also the different, like in summer it goes up, and uh, in winter the extreme climate is also there. But being there, we can work together in pro bono and legal aid and many issues, the critical and emerging issues. So the last, I also would like to um, give from bottom of my heart on behalf of Kathmandu School of Law. This is just the beginning with the LC, our beginning, not with India though. We can have in a systematic form design everything. So I would like to thank the Asian Law College, Dr. Salim Akhtar and the friends, colleagues, all the students, all the teachers, and present over here. Thank you very much for inviting Kathmandu School of Law. Of course, we are together in the banner theme, but definitely it's ALC who has taken this great initiative. And all the best to all the presenters for your successful, presentations. And please share with all the outcomes. Of course, we are sharing. We can see this number, but trust me that this will be a great and huge number after disseminating the outcome of this conference. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your insights on the theme of the conference. And it was very thoughtful of you to grace us with your esteemed presence all the way from Kathmandu, Nepal. So please give a huge round of applause once again for Dr. Geeta Pathak Sangrola, ma'am. And now I may request Honorable Justice Amreshwar Pratap Sahi, President, National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission, to grace us with this address. Please give a huge round of applause in welcoming sir to the podium.
Thank you very much, ALC, for having invited me. how many of the participants here are first generation law students? I am also raising my hand because nobody in my family had been a lawyer. Thank you very much for that signal that you have given to me. I was thinking about how to begin and how to address this gathering. But the first is to pay my respects to the eminent panelists here, Dr. Salim Akhtar, Professor Ahuja, and of course, your own Dean, Mr. Bharadwaj, of course, Mr. Singh, and not the least, Dr. Geeta Pathak from Nepal. I was just now thinking about how to begin this address when I heard that our neighboring country is participating in this conference. The official language of Nepal, the Nepali language in Devanagari script shall be the official language. So, Devanagari is common to us culturally, and of course, an official language being recognized by the sovereign government is recognition of the will of the people. So thank you very much, Nepal, and thank you very much for having conveyed all the beautiful thoughts Dr. Akhtar has indicated as to how you should be inquisitive. That is the job of a teacher. Professor Ahuja has given you those thoughts, modern thoughts, with which you have to now struggle. But this conference has given you the opportunity to deal with the themes and sub-themes which are very interesting. Two of them are of particular interest to me, and I would like to, because we have not much time, but two of the themes must necessarily engage your minds. And as I was very thrilled to hear that word from Dr. Pathak, that we are here in a dialogue. Any university or temple of learning is not only a temple of learning, it is a temple of unlearning and relearning. We, as Professor Ahuja says, you have to walk from the temple of learning to the temple of justice. But it is the temple of learning which tells you what is law, what is justice. In my own humble opinion, I learnt it from my peers. Law is good, but justice is better. So that is what we are going to talk about in this conference. And the theme that has been laid down by the organizers, my congratulations to them for having been very selective but very focused as to how a law student will shape his or her life, professional life, in this vast field of law. Now, why I call this vast field of law? Fortunately, I have the old student habit of cutting newspaper clips. We are newspaper readers. We are not the mobile readers. So we belong to that age where we try to find something rare for you to read. I don't think so that it is very rare. Somebody must have read it. But I have brought this newspaper cutting of 13th July 2025, Sunday Times of India, only to depict a small fry of the vastness of law that you are going to embrace. And this says, just read what it says. It says 5,333 ways to go to jail in India. So these are those penal laws. Just imagine the expanse of law. You have to learn this much. How to defend those people. We talk of Article 21. Dr. Pathak very rightly mentioned, and Dr. Akhtar mentioned about Shahbano's case. Article 21 uh, has been criticized and has also been praised. I will be the one who will praise it because it expands the understanding of human rights. And I am very happy that uh, Dr. Geeta Pathak, in a very humble way, you see, humility is that quality of a man which makes him accessible on any platform. Uh, just on the literature side, we will come to law and literature, but Dr. Akhtar will be in a better position to appreciate this because he has been a student of the Aligarh Muslim University, one of the far more, one of those universities which has produced stalwarts. And I was happy to learn that some of my colleague judges were his students. So humility is that quality which you should inculcate. These days we talk of tolerance, intolerance, and all these things. It is going on, but what is humility? So a poet says, those who can appreciate a little bit of film language, which also includes Urdu, it says, he says that जिससे भी मिलो खाक ए पांव हो के मिलो, जिससे भी मिलो खाक ए पांव हो के मिलो, फिर देखो तुम्हें उस बुलंदी से कौन उठा सकता है. Now if you touch the dust of somebody's feet, that is the highest achievement in life, and this is humility. This is the pinnacle of humility. So look at these, all these panelists, Advocate Singh, Bharadwaj Sahab, Dr. Akhtar, Dr. Ahuja, Dr. Pathak, all of them are embodiments of that humility because they have come all the way, traveled all the way to share something with you in this great dialogue, which is to commence. Don't get worried about it. I'm telling you from personal experience. I have not been a topper in my class. I have been somewhat a good student, but I rate myself a mediocre. You see, mediocrity, students, those who get less marks, high marks, this and that should not trouble you because mediocrity is not incompetence. And I tell you with experience, those who did not join academics, those who did not join judicial services, became lawyers because that was the only chance to them, people like me. So I could not go anywhere else and joined law. But after you start practicing law, those who go to the corporate world get good packages from Amar Chand Mangaldas, they engage Advocate Hari Singh. So I tell you, this embracing of the legal profession, you have, if you choose to do, and I beseech you that you should choose to become lawyers because they are the pioneers of understanding of human life. I tell you, we'll be talking about consumerism also, right from basic needs. A child is born, he needs Nestle milk, consumer. A person dies, he needs to be cremated with dignity, consumer. So, right from the cradle to the grave, this has been adopted by the Supreme Court very lately in one of the decisions. Consumerism is that wide. Law is still wider. As I told you, 533 ways how to go to jail. You can imagine how many penalties are there. I say this because this would be connected with what I'm going to talk about. Of course, consumerism is one of the themes, but law and literature, I would emphasize on that. Students have stopped reading books, and I was just now listening to Professor Ahuja that when he went on an inspection to a law college, he asked, "Where is the library?" They showed him just one almirah of simple books, and he said, "This is the library." Unfortunately, reading habits have dwindled because of the speed of the screen of the mobile or Kindle. There are many who can concentrate, but I find it very difficult. And I see students also that if they don't like a particular sentence, they will skip it with such speed that they miss some of the best sentences. That is the disadvantage which I personally feel is between Kindle reading and book reading, because in a book you can very easily flip and go back and try to match, because your thoughts are engrossed in something in which you are moving through the book. But when it comes to the screen, it is the screen which is dominating on you, not you on the pages. This is what is happening, and this is habit. You see, talking of habits, when it comes to mobiles and all this, artificial intelligence, we'll be talking about it. What is that which a man is unable to resist? Any answer from the students? Think over it, because I said we are in a dialogue. Why I say a dialogue? Because this is an academia, not only a simple temple of learning. And what is an academia? You very well know. Academia was a garden in which Socrates and Aristotle used to debate, and we had similar gardens in India all over in all civilizations. And we had Sankaracharya and Mandan Mishra in India as well. We had many scholars who debated. So this dialogue and debate, well, can you tell me once again, what is the most difficult thing to resist in a human being? This is not a question which I will be answering from my own wisdom, but from what I have learned, because learning and unlearning, as I said, is the process. Anybody can attempt. Please don't hesitate, because unless you become inquisitive, our job coming here would not be fruitful. We want you to act, interact, innovate, learn, relearn, do anything in a free atmosphere. Well, I'll tell you the answer, and you put the same question to others who don't know it, including your parents at home. Because I tell you, the basic learning of ethics, morality, which is the foundation of any profession, be it advocacy, be it any profession in the world, that is a necessity. The three I's which Mr. Singh talked about: integrity, that is the best industry. You see, there is no shortcut to hard labor. But coming back to the question that I had posed to you, what is that most difficult thing to resist in human life vis-a-vis artificial intelligence? A clue, just like Kaun Banega Crorepati, A, B, C, D, I can give you many clues. But I tell you philosophically, the most difficult thing to resist is temptation. That is the foundation of any human weakness. Go outside the gate, you find a good Golgappa stall, you eat 8, get your stomach upset, and then the doctor has to take care of you. So, the most difficult thing to resist is temptation. And I attach one more sentence: temptation towards such weaknesses. The mobile or the internet world has expanded your accessibility to knowledge to such an extent that you can't imagine. But how to search the correct knowledge, that is the temple of learning. This is what you are going to learn here. So, law in its expanse, with these 5,333 ways, only just on one topic of penology, you can imagine you have embraced a profession which outclasses any profession in the world. Nothing is out of course. Why? There is a simple sentence which I have borrowed from a book authored by Abraham London. That is the name of the author, and the title is Law and Literature. So it is in 2 volumes. I was fortunate to get it in the Allahabad High Court when I was elevated as a judge. The first sentence of the book is, and please remember this: law regulates life, literature depicts life. So, how does literature depict life? All of us know quotes. Those who have read Merchant of Venice, Shakespeare talks of mercy and justice. Those who have read Munshi Premchand, his famous story Dand, written in 1929, you will find hosts of examples. And then, as Dr. Akhtar pointed out, the Shah Bano case, translating into a film today, maybe it is not depicting it correctly or exactly, but nonetheless, it has brought about a transformation by introducing a theme for people to think. They may think their own way, they are free to think, but nonetheless, thought process begins with literature. So please, apart from law, also read literature. Films, legal films on legal themes. I'll tell you a couple of them. Please see it. You'll enjoy it. All the professors are sitting here. They might have taught or introduced this topic in their lectures, but if they have not, they should do so when we are talking of human rights and all these rights. One question once again to anybody: who was known as the attorney of the damned? Can anybody tell us? This famous word, attorney of the damned, it is on the theme of Jiska koi nahi uska khuda hai yaro. Who was that lawyer who was named as the attorney of the damned? I'll tell you, I don't claim much of learning, but some interesting learning that I come across, I never fall short of conveying it in this gathering. He was Clarence Darrow, a famous American lawyer who defended a high school teacher in a case where the high school teacher was trying to teach the theory of Charles Darwin in a Catholic school. That is known as the Hillsborough Scott School, where this famous trial emerged, and there was nobody to defend that poor teacher because he was talking against the Bible. Clarence Darrow took up that case and he argued it, which is known as the famous, thanks you, because this will create more troubles. The case is, please read it, it is very interesting. And why I mentioned law and literature, I wish your university purchases this book and keeps it in its library, and not what Professor Ahuja indicated. So, because you will not get it ordinarily in the Google, and how, I'll explain it to you. So that was the famous monkey trial, because the evolution of man was being contested in that case, and nobody was to believe anything against the Bible. The teacher was charged, he was dragged to court with nobody to defend him, and then Clarence Darrow stood up. That is why he gained this name, attorney for the damned. The case was, why are you teaching science against religion? That was the contest. Clarence Darrow's answer in his summation speech was something very wonderful. And he tells the judge, look here, you cannot take away a man's right by any law or by any method, his capacity to reason and think. This is beyond control. So your minds, you have that capacity to reason and think, and nobody can control it. You have to think. That is how law will evolve. The case, the high school master lost the case. He was indicted, but it is still cited today in the United States Supreme Court, and of course in law schools all over. I wish it is made a case study where you can read this contest between science and religion, which will open your minds, just like what Clarence Darrow had pleaded. Why I am saying this? There, Clarence Darrow also took the help of literature. The prosecutors took the help of Bible. He took the help of science fiction. So in law, nothing is out of course. You have to study everything and anything, and you can't afford to say no to anybody when he comes to you for any such opinion that he may require to understand how his life is being regulated by law. There is another thing which you always keep in mind. We have the Constitution of India. What does the first line of the preamble say? Correct. So you have given to yourselves this Constitution. It is not somebody else. Constituent Assembly only wrote that, but it was the wish of the people which stands incorporated in the Constitution. So it is the Constitution which is supreme, not the Parliament which is supreme. Please keep this in mind. We are all under the Constitution. Anyone, right from the President of India up to the normal citizen, they are all under the Constitution of India. We are bound by the Constitution, and the Constitution is our Bible. We cut across many things. Personal laws are there, undoubtedly they are there, but this respect for the Constitution should not waver. We were talking about films. Dr. Akhtar, back again to Haq. Yesterday, only today, my private secretary is here. He had been asked by my wife to get a ticket somewhere because it is being released today, if I'm not wrong. That is how I came to know of Haq. So, as compared to Haq, Clarence Darrow's summation speech is in a film, a beautiful film, that trial, monkey trial, and the name of the film is Inherit the Wind. Yes. So you will enjoy seeing it, and look at the way people logically talk about what and how a man's power to reason and think is supreme than anything else. Well, there are many other films. One of the more interesting films, which is related to now what I am doing, consumerism, is Fortune Cookies. This is another old film. Fortune Cookies is an interesting film where a person poses himself and as a person who has acquired disability, and this he has done to fake himself as a disabled man to gain insurance claims. So it is a very comical sort of a humorous sort of a film, but the message is very strong, that how do people fake insurance claims, and it is on the theme of what you will find in law, ambulance chasers. So Mr. Singh will appreciate this. This is a caption given to legal professionals who buy such cases under the Motor Vehicles Act, everything. You very well know all this has been happening. So ambulance chasers. So law and literature. That is the first thing that I will emphasize. Please read literature. It will teach you the ways of law, because it tells you what life is. You will come to know how to regulate life only when you know what life is. With all due respect to all the panelists and academicians present here, it is correct that theory has to be learned. But when it comes to practice and application of law, it is a different world. You heard Professor Akhtar talking about the various nuances of Article 142, where the Supreme Court of India can do complete justice in some cases. It cannot transcend law, but it still has been given that supreme power because it is the last court of the land. There is nothing beyond it. What I'm trying to say is that this setup, judicial setup which we have on the doctrine of separation of powers, is a method of governance. How to regulate ourselves through governance, and of course through lawful governance. It is not governance bereft of the rule of law. You have to follow the rule of law, and for that you have to learn the tenets of law. And to learn the tenets of law, you have to learn the tenets of life as well. How to connect the law in a particular situation. Just one line, with all due respect, once again, most of you, I do not know, have you heard the name of the German philosopher Goethe? You must have heard somewhere. Goethe, that is his name, because these days I find wherever I go, students immediately go on the mobile to check as to whether the gentleman is wrong or right. So, Goethe, please, whenever you find time, these are serious things that you should read. He has just said two lines because experiential learning and learning or through experience, that is very important. That theme has been very appropriately included in this conference. Goethe said, theory is the gray of life. This is his first sentence. Not gray of life. He says, theory is gray. He stops there. And then he says, green is the tree of life. So he has metaphorized and created similes through colors. He says theory is gray. Green is the tree of life. Why did he say so? Because it is correct, we learn mathematics, we learn any, for example, law, but when it comes to its application, it brings about many permutations and combinations which is not there in the theory part. So when you come to practice law, you will understand that it is not the cold neutrality of law, but it is the logic of the law, which is life and experience as expounded by American judges and even by Justice Krishna Iyer in some of his beautiful judgments. This experiential training with a combination of law and literature can be achieved more easily than by just reading the tenets of the law. And therefore, I beseech all law schools that whenever you are preparing your curriculum, as Professor Ahuja pointed out, that the national education policy is trying to bring about a similarity and a closeness through an interdisciplinary approach. Literature, that part of literature which deals with law, should also be put in the curriculum for you to be encouraged to embrace law. It is not to make you desist that, look here, Charles Dickens says, kill all the lawyers. That is not correct. You have to have lawyers, rather the legal profession itself, because it is something not very simple and is always at times complex, where you need expertise and you are the harbingers and pioneers of that expertise. So that is why your job, your profession, I always say this, is the best profession, most important profession in the world. So don't think that you have joined law only for just passing away your time. You have joined law to do something which no one else in the society can afford to do. Even the President of India will have to ask the Attorney General for any advice. So it is only the legal profession which has been mentioned in the Constitution that has been given such a high place, a constitutional position. Uh, you have done your best, but now um, Dr. Pathak once again, she said that uh, we are not young. You see, it is youth which blossoms into adulthood. So the youth may be physically lost, but the brain cells grow more rapidly when one reaches maturity. So um, I beg to disagree with Dr. Pathak that we are old. Uh, it is this crystallized and distilled experience which is the theme of your international conference, for which we have come here. And please have the best of it, because you very well know when you have to pull water out of a well, what have you to do? Lower the bucket to the deepest position, and then only you get water. What do you do when you enter a kitchen? Kitchen is full of mysteries. Your parents, mother, or somebody who cooks food for you knows those mysteries. So, to learn those mysteries, you have to embrace that part of learning of the law which is needed to create the foundations of your future profession. I say this only from one angle, that you should become lawyers. I only request you that you should join litigation. You will be able to help your colleagues, the citizens, and the society at large. Well, having said something about law and literature, let us come to another topic. Professor Ahuja and Mr. Singh and Dr. Pathak have all talked about it in different ways. The third question to you, please remember all the three questions that I have put to you today. The third question to you, what is the simplest definition of artificial intelligence? Anybody, please. Anybody. Because you are supposed to know it more than we do. Yes, please. Simplest definition. Why do you feel, you see, we want to make it more interesting. We have to move forwards, start thinking. Well, everybody says artificial intelligence. So, what is the simplest meaning of artificial intelligence? Anybody, please? All right, I'll again answer it. But I will not accept defeat. I will learn how to struggle because I was also a student like you, and we were also dumbfounded when we were put with these questions. So please don't get depressed on it, because you know the answer. I know you know the answer. You see, why I'm tempted to read about it? Yes, yet another article in the newspaper. This was, I don't know what is the date of this newspaper, because I just keep on snatching it. It is from Times of India by Jaspreet Bindra. Chat GPT making us dumb and dumber, but we can still come out wiser. This is the topic. I will request the organizers just get a Xerox copy done of it, and the students should know what is there. So they will be benefited. It says many things. It says ask the right questions, invert classwork and homework, AI usage codes should be sharpened, teacher AI synergy is important. Teachers also should know. And above all, make everyone AI literate. Yes, we entirely agree with this, because we have entered into this world of chat GPT, which is one of the most dangerous outcomes. In one sense, what this topic says, chat GPT making us dumb and dumber. Don't allow uh, to become a slave. We get enslaved because of what I said, temptation. So this temptation to move to the mobile, at times it is compulsion also, because you are looking at something and suddenly some advertisement pops up which has got nothing to do with you, and it distracts you. So it is a source of distraction also at times, but you have to chisel it. You see, the simplest definition of artificial intelligence that I came to learn, and I can be corrected if I'm wrong, artificial intelligence in the simplest form is mimicking of human intelligence. Why is it said so? Because we are feeding the algorithms in the data which forms the basis of any information through that, whether it is metaverse or whether it is simple data collection or from the cloud or from the internet or from whatever source it is. It is being fed by human beings, but it becomes destructive, as Professor Ahuja pointed out about metaverse. When we first came to learn about it at the National Judicial Academy, we had a group from the Federal Judicial Center at Washington, and the first clip that they showed was President Obama sitting with Oprah Winfrey and having a conversation as if they were really conversing with each other, but it was a pure creation of metaverse which could not be doubted in any way. So that was the first example. You will have it on the internet also, you can find it. But look at the example which Professor Ahuja gave. That are the dangers. So you have to learn this distinction. You see, howsoever fast we may become, uh, technology is our own creation, and we can be masters of it, whether it is nuclear power or whether it is this digital power. Fortunately, again, even though theory is gray, as I said, as Goethe said, but theorists at time they think and they come out with such suggestions that impels you to think further before you apply it. We were fortunate at the National Judicial Academy to have the company of Professor Richard Susskind from United Kingdom. Uh, Even though there are many pioneers to this, but he is one of the celebrated professors who has dealt a lot with artificial intelligence in the legal world. And he has theorized many things. He has explained many things. I will not go deep into it because that his three of his books are available, and I wish that your library once again has it. Uh, we wanted to invite Professor Susskind uh, physically here, but he joined online, and unfortunately, uh, his secretary could not negotiate the emoluments that were needed for his presence here physically. At times, that is a big difficulty, but his books are more than sufficient to tell you that. But we found in that research, we also came across another celebrated professor of this field from Heidelberg University, Professor Thomas Fuchs, Fuchs. He has written a book in defense of human beings. This book is also available, and I wish it is made part of the library of this institution, because Thomas Fuchs, while writing his theory, says this is one of the most dangerous technologies, and he compares it with the nuclear technology. And he says, look at this. If we create our own destroyers, well, a little bit of switch over towards religion, those who are aware of it, they must have heard about Bhasmasur, that he was such a person who was blessed by the Almighty, but the Almighty found him very troublesome and asked him, all right, you place your own hand before your head. And Bhasmasur did that, and he finished. So therefore, this instrument of self destruction, please be aware of it. And Professor Thomas Fuchs explains it very aptly, and I think it will be a great piece of learning for you. Uh, well, there was uh, another. I will. I don't have enough time, but nonetheless, it is so interesting to read all the uh, topics that you are going to discuss. Law and political science. I don't know when they will meet together, because politics understands law as on date also through vote banks. This is very unfortunate. The In the name of the organic evolution of the constitution, or in the name of understanding the theme of our socialistic pattern of society, we we elect people, and those people whom we elect, they cross borders of the essential basic thoughts of a common coexistence of human beings. The commonality part is lost. So they start making laws which create rifts, which create problems. And that is how lawyers and judges thrive. So I will not say much on that. But political science and law is one of those subjects which also be studied in depth, because it formulates the political background in which you seek to govern yourself. So, this choice of self governance comes from a political thought, a particular. It is very easy to say that we choose representatives only for 5 years. But what we do is we mortgage ourselves to somebody who doesn't know law for 5 years. They start making laws according to their own needs. It was a very happy moment when we learnt about Nepal being headed by the former Chief Justice. So this was a very good sort of a thing, a choice, the people's choice. The people, you see, that is why I say you have joined a profession which is all embracing and is the most important profession. People today still have faith in the judiciary. The choice of the former Chief Justice in Nepal is nothing else but a choice of the people showing faith in the judicial system. Justice will be done. That is the greatest aspiration man has in life. So, I tell you, this pillar of faith should not shake, and it rests on people like you, who in day to day life would be shaping the polity, the legal position, explaining and expounding the law. You will be doing something which will be building the nation. The talk went on to uh, culminate in understanding trans-border politics and trans-border cooperations. Undoubtedly, the criminal law in China, they don't spend money on litigation. They spend money on bullets. We have unfortunately talked of bulldozers these days. If I am not wrong, this talk of bulldozers is not correct in a democracy. The reason is, what is the meaning of the word bulldozer? Have anyone thought about it? Yes, anybody? You see bulldozers every day. Why can't you define it? This is the whole trouble. Law needs definitions. Please remember that. Whenever you are going to talk law, you have to be precise and exact. Otherwise, something will happen to that Hindi song, Jana tha Japan, pahunch gaye Cheen. So you have to be very careful in the choice of words. That is why language, I would be stressing on language apart from literature, whether it is English or any other language that you choose, but English is a global language. Please concentrate on learning the law in a language which is understood globally also, apart from the official language that you have. please don't leave that. But why? Why do you have to learn this? Uh, you see, in trans-border understandings of the legal positions, we have different legal setups, different cultural setups, personal laws, and the like. Just to a little bit digress from it, when it comes to personal laws, we were talking of Haq and Shahbano's case, but I must inform this gathering that in the state of UP, where we both, Dr. Akhtar and we belong to, he also must have studied the when the feudal system was abolished. We had the UP Zamindari Abolition Act. But what did that act do when it came to inheritance of land? It introduced inheritance by law uniformly, irrespective of caste, creed, or anything. That was the first law which was really a constitutional law, and its validity was fortunately upheld by the Supreme Court. So there is no discrimination. The succession to agricultural land is governed by that particular law. No disputes. Of course, there are disputes. Wherever there are 4 utensils, there is bound to be a cantering. But nonetheless, that was one of the law, that step taken. So what I want to say is that whether it is inter-boundaries or trans-boundaries, this learning process of law and its application, I had the opportunity to attend conferences with the Central European Legal Institute, as also the Federal Judicial Center and the College of Education, United Kingdom, where this recent problem in the digital world, cryptocurrency, hacking, dark web, all this was discussed. And uniformity in this law was advocated because digital technology has no borders. So artificial intelligence, digital technology, and the laws regulating it, I do not know why the government is hesitant, and they say that it is not possible to regulate it. But you can imagine the extent of problem that is being faced in governance to contain or regulate all this digital fraud or digital damage that is being done to human mankind. It is this area which you should pick up as students of law and try to innovate and invent, as Mr. Singh said, to reach and outreach the masses. One thing is certain, your vegetable seller also has a smartphone these days. But what happens is, when he loses 3,000 rupees, he says, why will I go to court? I will have to pay the lawyer more. So it is better to do away with 3,000 and then we'll. But there are some who do contest this position and they go beyond it. I'll come to the last phase of what that I have been called upon to address, and that is the consumer protection laws. Consumerism, as I said earlier, from cradle to the grave. Now, this law is global. It is trans-border. Ralph Nader pioneered it about half a century ago, and then was brought about the United Nations Charter in 1985. Followed by that, we had our law in India, the Consumer Protection Act 1986, and now we have the redone up law of 2019. Now, what has been added is this part of technology, this digital world, online platform, and all commercial transactions. We had a case only day before yesterday that I booked an Uber, and this is what came. He did not turn up, and of course, the damages and this and that. Now, this small matter traveled up to the National Commission. People are aware what is happening. what is the element of deception. So this whole world of consumerism has evolved around any form of deception. That is the foundation of protecting consumers, that if anybody deceives you with any product, any form of deception, then there is a liability. It is this liability, services have been defined, many things have been excluded also, pure civil disputes or disputes of which are essentially of commercial purpose, they have been excluded from it. But from the point of view of the common man, as I said earlier, from the cradle to the grave, the Consumer Protection Act is there to protect you. And I believe many things would be discussed. I didn't have much time, otherwise, I would have devoted at least one technical section on that, because I am now aware of so many things which needs to be passed on to the next generation. Consumerism is global, it is a global movement and is no longer restricted only to India or anywhere. That is why our Consumer Protection Act has impact on companies working abroad with their roots here also, or their branches here also. So we are able to catch hold of everybody. We will talk about it sometime later, because it is now 12:30 and I believe the sessions have also to continue. So thank you very much, everybody on the dais and off the dais, for having practically been patient with me. So I believe the students will remember all the three questions. And before parting, I'll just ask the university once again, please purchase a dictionary, the Oxford Dictionary in 20 volumes, which is edited by Murray. I do not know whether the Indian Law Institute has it or not. But if it does not, I'll give you a small example, and I give it to all students who come for internship. There is one word, stop, in the English dictionary. Stop means a pause. You can have 3-4 meanings. That dictionary has 44 meanings to tell you what stop means. I therefore also request you that whenever you come across such things, don't hesitate in consulting those things, those literature, those dictionaries, which may be helpful to you in life. To the university, please provide this. And I think your students are very promising. They will definitely live up to the expectations and to the expectations of their parents for which they have been sent here. Thank you very much, students, and all the best.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your words of wisdom with all of us and for beautifully emphasizing the importance of law and literature in today's world of AI. Please once again give a huge round of applause for Honorable Justice Amreshwar Pratap Sahi, sir. Now, another great academic news to share with you all. The Research and Development Cell is proud to announce this international collaboration, which has garnered 193 participants, including international and national delegates from throughout India and worldwide, including countries such as Nepal and Zimbabwe. The efforts of our team have been compiled in the conference proceedings. Before we commence our academic discourse, I request our eminent guests to formally release the proceedings of the conference. So I may request the dignitaries to kindly release the proceedings of the conference. Please give a huge round of applause. Once again, please put your hands together as we release the proceedings of this prestigious conference. Please give a huge round of applause once again. Once again, please put your hands together for the release of the proceedings of this International Conference 2025. Thank you so much, ma'am and sir. Now, moving towards acknowledging the esteemed presence of the dignitaries on the dais, I extend my gratitude on behalf of the LC fraternity to our distinguished guests for today and would thank them for their honored presence in the international conference. I may now request Professor Dr. Salim Akhtar sir and Ashish Bhardwaj sir to kindly felicitate our esteemed guests with a memento and a shawl to acknowledge their esteemed presence for today and for honoring us with their time and guidance. And we look forward for a continued association with you, sir and ma'am. So firstly, we would like to felicitate Honorable Justice Amreshwar Pratap Sahi, sir, President, National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission. Sir, I may request you to kindly come forward. Please put your hands together for Honorable Justice Amreshwar Pratap Sahi, sir, President, National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission. With a huge round of applause, we felicitate Honorable Justice Amreshwar Pratap Sahi, sir. Thank you, sir, for gracing us with your esteemed presence today. Thank you so much, sir. Once again, please put your hands together. It was an honor to have you with us today, sir. Thank you, sir. Next, we'll be felicitating Senior Professor Dr. V.K. Ahuja, sir, Director, Indian Law Institute, New Delhi. Please put your hands together for Senior Professor Dr. V.K. Ahuja, sir. Thank you, sir, for gracing us with your privileged presence today. Once again, please put your hands together for Dr. V.K. Ahuja, sir. Please give a huge round of applause. Once again, please put your hands together in felicitating Dr. V.K. Ahuja, sir, Director, Indian Law Institute, New Delhi. Thank you so much, sir, for gracing us with your presence today. Next, we would like to felicitate Professor Dr. Geeta Pathak Sangrola, ma'am, Executive Director, Kathmandu School of Law, Nepal. Please put your hands together for ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for gracing us with your esteemed presence today. Once again, please put your hands together for ma'am. It was an honor to have you with us, ma'am. Please give a huge round of applause, everyone. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Now we would like to felicitate Advocate Nar Hari Singh, sir, Advocate on Record and Senior Central Government Counsel. Please give a huge round of applause for sir. Thank you, sir, for gracing us with your privileged presence today. It was an honor to have you with us. Once again, give a huge round of applause for sir. Please once again put your hands together for Advocate Nar Hari Singh, sir. And once again, we can have a loud round of applause for all the dignitaries on the dais. I request all the dignitaries to be seated. And now I would like to invite Mr. Ashish Bhardwaj, Associate Dean of Asian Law College, to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of the institution to our esteemed guests and participants. So,
thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. It's indeed a privilege and an honor every time to listen to dignitaries in such kind of intellectual gatherings, I'll say. And to begin with, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our Honorable Justice Amreshwar Pratap Sahi, sir. Sir, the way, the nuggets and anecdotes which you have shared, and indeed, I guess, like, it's a kind of a smallest token of gratitude from our side. I request the audience to give a standing ovation to sir for his presence today, because it means a lot to us that sir has spared time for us and he has graced us on this particular occasion. Thank you so much, sir. We are truly indebted with the kind of knowledge which you have shared with us. Moving ahead, another, we have the legal gem with us, Senior Professor Dr. V.K. Ahuja, sir, Director ILI, that is Indian Law Institute. We have our very old academic collaborations with ILI, sir, under the supervision of Professor Dr. Salim, sir, and Sandeep Marwa, sir, the President for the Asian Education Group. We are again truly honored, sir, to have you here. And thank you for giving us the thought-provoking other side of the AI as well, which indeed the young generation needs to ponder upon. So we are grateful for that, food of thought that will go a long way in shaping the future ahead. And we have our international partner, academic collaborator, Professor Dr. Geeta, being the executive director. And ma'am, again, it's indeed an honor. And trust us, we were more happy when we came to know that you are coming offline to the campus instead of virtually being part and parcel of the same. So it means a lot to us. Let's give a round of applause for ma'am as well for being present in this conference. And I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Advocate Narhari Singh ji. Sir has always been a guardian, and he is a mentor from the industry. He keeps on guiding us as an institution when it comes to the student perspective, when it comes to such kind of academic collaborations as well. So, sir, again, it's indeed honor to have you with us, in such kind of brainstorming sessions. And I extend, the person, or I'll say the legal gem who has helped us step by step in devising this entire program, that is Professor Dr. Salim Akhtar, sir. He has been with us as as a guiding torch throughout this particular endeavor, and the nuggets of which we have seen just now in the inaugural, and the rest will follow in the subsequent technical sessions. So thank you, sir, for always trusting us and for always giving us such kind of an opportunity to organize such kind of an event where we get a chance to interact and to understand a lot of other perspective which probably would have remained closed in the books in the times to come. So thank you so much, and I extend the heartfelt gratitude to all the participants who have come, the students, and even the online participants who will be presenting. And yes, we are excited ahead to see the perspective on those kind of themes and sub themes which we have successfully given you to ponder your thoughts upon. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, and thank you to all the dignitaries for making the inaugural ceremony of this International Conference 2025 a huge success. Please give a huge round of applause. Thank you so much, ma'am and sir. It was an honor to have you with us, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I request everybody to please stand so that we can have a group photograph with esteemed dignitaries. The people at the back can come a little forward so that everybody accommodates in the group picture.